Hey guys, my name is Craig Miller from 670 The Score, 670thescore.com. I'm with Dimar Ortuz. He's fighting February 15th. Also, ESPN fight. Give me, a history of yourself. Who you'll be facing coming in February 15th.
Well, let's start off with my amateur. I'm a 2002 Golden Glover in the heavyweight division. I represented Chicago a few times around the United States during my amateur career. As a pro, I've fought 7 times so far. I got 5 knockouts, including 2 guys that are undefeated, Dante Woods, and he was 8-0 with 7 knockouts, and he had a real good amateur career with him. And also Terry Martin was 5-0 with 5 knockouts. I ended up putting him down in the 3rd round, and then I recently fought in December in Waterloo, Iowa. Against Donnie Davis, I took him out in the 1st round. So now I'm looking to fight this kid named Paul Parker. Paul Parker, from what I know, has a good little amateur background. Got a few national appearances in the amateurs. Well, get ready for everybody the same way. Everybody's a champion in my eyes, and it's me or him, and it's never going to be me. I'll tell you that right now.
I just watched a sparring session with you and Carlos Molina. What's it like sparring with him, and what's the ultimate goal for a person like Carlos as he gets prepared for his fight February 1st?
Well, Carlos, he picks out a few people that actually, when you're sparring, you go to what's the advantage point of fighters. So what's their strongest point? So for me, I've helped Carlos out through almost all his fights since the Kirkland fight. Been helping out. I'm more the strength guy. I'm more the bully. I go in there and I have a very awkward style. So does Carlos. Carlos uses angles that, especially when you're fighting in southpaw, he loses you right away, and it's really hard to keep him in front of you. He goes down a lot, and it's like it's him. Sometimes you just swing in that air with him, but for me, I just try to maintain the pressure on him, and I try to corner him into the corners and stuff like that. With me, I'm also working on my movements and on my defense. When Carlos is a very, very good counter puncher. Also, he's a good setup. He knows how to walk into a corner and give you 6 or 7 shots and walk out without even being touched. So, he's got a few sparring partners. Kenny Smith, Antonio Canas is in the ring with him right now as well. These are all very good pro fighters. They have good strong points. Kenny Smith's ranked #1. Antonio, he's up and coming. Had a good tough fight last month. So he's looking to make a comeback and get back on a winning streak. As for me, man, I'm looking to move along and get bigger fights and try to bring Chicago, make boxing bigger again here. I've had the luck of being a good crowd pleaser. I get real involved. Boxing's a very emotional sport for me. I involve everything. My workouts are like, man, and they're crazy. I'm working out 6 to 7 hours out the day. 3 different gyms, 3 different coaches. I'm trying to get the best I can out of this boxing. Other than that, man, we gotta see. Hopefully, 2014 is gonna be a bigger year for me. 2013 is gonna be a setup year for me, and along with Bobby Hitz and his crew and his staff members, I'm hoping to get where I want to be, which is a championship fight against Antonio Tarver or a top 10 contender. I feel I'm ready for it.
Very cool. You talked about the Chicago boxing scene. I've asked this to everybody. You heard me ask Carlos. What is the reason why it's so under the radar? I mean, there's no exposure through the newspaper, the radio, TV. I'm trying to do that with 670 The Score. Give me your opinion on why we don't see enough coverage in the sport of boxing, especially here in Chicago.
Well, a lot has to do with that. Social media actually, attacks like basketball, bigger names. As to be a pro in boxing in Chicago now, boxing is not that big here because one, promoters sometimes have difficulties promoting. A lot of the fighters, a lot of the promoters depend on fighters' fan base attendance. So if I can only bring 100 and all the other fighters can bring a few hundred, then that's how they fill it out. I think Chicago could be a real big town. We have like 7 million people. I mean, we should have boxing matches every other weekend or so. But I think boxing is a market that needs to be exposed and it needs to be touched, and people like you and stuff like that. I think you guys are gonna pioneer and bring boxing back to to the spotlight. You know, there's a lot of great amateurs turning pro this year, and have turned the pro class in Chicago right now. I think it's probably the best I've seen since I started fighting. So you know, you don't really have opponents here right now. You have people that actually have a chance to make it up there and have the goal. You know, and a lot of them have the intensity and they have the will. So you know, I think what you're doing is like beautiful. It's a start. You know, hopefully it can motivate other people, other stations, and to get up, because you know we do a sport that we bring a lot of entertainment to, and man, you know, there's just a lot of us that are ready to explode and be brought into the media spotlight.
Appreciate it. Before I let you go, what got you into the sport of boxing? And you know, who are some of the fighters that inspired you to become a boxer?
Believe it or not, Chicago used to have a nightclub that used to throw boxing matches on Tuesday nights, and they had their selected champions, and you would go in there. Anybody from the crowd would go in there. So I started going to this club at 17 years old, and it was a 21 and over club, and I fell in love with boxing in there, man. I got into the ring, and it was just so natural to me, you know. And I play sports. I play all types of sports, and it just came natural to me, and I love the competition of it. There's no other sport that can give you that competition. There's no team. It's you. What you put into it is what you get out of it in this sport. So, but that's pretty much.
Who's some of the guys that inspired you?
Inspired. I like Roberto Duran, James Toney a lot. I like James Toney, Tyson's head movement. You know, there's a lot of greats that you sit down and you watch and you try to imitate. It's like basketball, like when you're practicing, you're doing the countdown 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, and you're trying to shoot, trying to be like Jordan. Same thing here. We're hitting the bags. Our basket's the bag, and we're trying to imitate punches. We're trying to imitate certain moves. So it's almost the same thing. But yeah, I would say James Toney and Roberto Duran are probably two fighters that I try to imitate a lot.
Very cool, man. Dimar, good luck. February 15th.
Thanks a lot, Greg.